Hi everyone, new journal today, journal 93. The topic is beta readers. I've promised to talk about this for a while. Journal 76, I think in the preamble of that one, I said this was coming, this topic was coming. That was a while ago. I did talk about it recently, last month, the March 2025 progress update for my book. I talked about beta readers from the perspective of music, and I'm going to pick up that thread. And I'm going to tie in some things I've talked about in previous journals too. Journal 73, I talked about the muse and my sort of tyrannical muse that when it mandates something, like who am I to disagree, but who is anyone else in the community to disagree either with my own muse and say, no, this is what your muse says, but I say differently. I think that's a terrible thing to do. I think you need to do that in the sciences. I'm fully pro beta readers in the sciences. I contribute a lot. I publish a lot in the natural sciences and the peer review process. I'm a peer reviewer for several journals. When I submit work, I expect it to go through a hearty peer review process, but that's the sciences. In the arts, I think is bad, not just for me, but I think it's bad for everyone. So I have these deep qualms about the public's correction of the individual's muse, and so that's really what today is about. I hope it stands on its own without this preamble, but Journal 93, Saturday, April 12th, 2025, my problem with beta readers. Hi everyone. 21 albums into his career, David Bowie said, "It's terribly dangerous for an artist to fulfill other people's expectations." Add in all the live albums, EPs, soundtracks, and Tin Man work, and it's hard to deny Bowie knew a little something about the artistic process. While I know a little nothing about his specific process, I doubt it involved sending unreleased songs to scores of random non-musicians and asking them for advice. "Could you make Ashes to Ashes more, like, normal?" one of them says. "Yeah, and get rid of that weird Pokemon yell in the middle," another adds. "And maybe just sing the rest of the song in a non-weird singing voice, a third suggests, to the agreement of the first two. "Thanks for your feedback. This has been so helpful," Bowie would never reply. "I'll start making the revisions straight away," Bowie would never acquiesce. "Now, what about Station to Station? What should I do with that one?" Bowie would never ask. "Get rid of the first 3 minutes," one listener says. "Yeah, then cut the rest of the song in half," another instructs. "I mean, it's 10 minutes long. You really gotta chop that shit down." "Will do. Again, this has been so helpful," Bowie would only say if you were possessed by the least artistic demon in hell. "All right, let's move on to Joe the Lion, Cracked Actor, and Space Oddity. This is going really well so far. I can't wait to hear your revisions for those. I am on pins and needles." If Bowie solicited the public's advice in this way, then revised his work according to their feedback, it wouldn't be Bowie or art. The same can be said about Bob Dylan, John Lennon, Kurt Cobain, and every punk band ever. Musicians who care about art do not submit their work to a committee for correction. Neither do painters or poets. So why do novelists do this? Why do they send their writing to the public for advice on the artistic process? If business is your principal concern, I get it. But if you care about art, you have a deeply intimate relationship with your muse. I mean bridally intimate relationship. And you would never allow that to be violated by the public. Amending the facts of one's story, the plot and its plotters, for the sake of commercial viability, adulterates all the art right out of it. And I just can't do that. I'm far too musical in my approach. Musical as the adjective form of muse. Every artist I've ever admired was too musical in this way. Consider Tchaikovsky. He was among history's most musical in both senses of the word. I quote, "Only the music that pours from the depths of an artistic soul, moved by inspiration, can touch and take possession of the hearer." That is not an artist who is fulfilling other people's expectations. All right, that's it for Journal 93. The David Bowie quotation, that's from 1997. It's an interview he gave. And then the Tchaikovsky quotation, it's from this book. I've talked about this book in the past. in, I think, October 2024, I posted a video saying my top 4-ish influences. So my influences for my own book, for my novel, which was upside down there. What books really influenced how I handle the material, my inspiration to it. And this was one of them. It's called Beloved Friend. It's the letters. It's a personal correspondence between Tchaikovsky and Nadia von Meck. And this one, the quotation, on this book, it's on page 216. The letter is from March 17th, 1878. Tchaikovsky's writing. He said, "I have your letter, my beloved friend." That's the name of the book, Beloved Friend. "I have your letter, my beloved friend, and read it with the greatest pleasure. Let me answer your questions in order. It is very pleasant to talk with you about my method of creation. I have never before revealed these mysterious manifestations of the Spirit, partly because not many have requested it, partly because those that asked did not inspire me with a desire to answer." He goes on a little bit and it says, "Do not believe those who tried to persuade you that musical creation is a cold, purely mental exercise. Only the music that pours from the depths of an artistic soul, moved by inspiration, can touch and take possession of the hearer." And he's not the only one. The letter he's responding to from Nadia von Meck, just like when did she send hers? In February 24th, 1878. She says, "In my long life, I have come to the conclusion that if a genius is to develop and gain inspiration, he must have security from material want." And so this idea that art has a business, component in there, and that you have to remodel it and contradict the muse for the sake of financial, like this contravenes art. And so that's why I don't want beta readers to be involved in my work. And I don't think they should be involved really in other people's work either. I want it to come from the depths of the soul, and not for, David Bowie's, other people's. Whatever. I'm going to end there. There's so much more I could say, but I'll save that for later. And I'll just end by wishing you all the music that you, in both ways, and let's say there's a third way. I don't know what the third version of music is, but the muse, the acoustic version of music, and the third. I hope you have all of those in your life, and I'll see you next time.